Assalamu alaikum and good day. We are presenting our Computer Audit and Risk Management Final Assessment for Nexus Global Tech Solutions SDNBH. The main purpose of this audit is to understand the company environment, identify cyber risks, evaluate the most serious threats, and recommend suitable treatment based on ISO risk management practices. This presentation is divided among 4 speakers: HAIQAL, IRFAN, ADAM, and AM. I will begin with the company overview, audit objective, and scope before passing to the next presenter. This slide shows how our presentation is structured. HAIQAL will cover the introduction, company background, and audit scope. IRFAN will explain the framework, audit lifecycle, and risk criteria. ADAM will present the risk identification, risk analysis, and priority risk list. Finally, AM will explain the treatment plan, ISO 27002 control mapping, residual risk acceptance, and conclusion. This flow follows the structure of our final report, starting from context establishment and ending with monitoring and management approval. Nexus Global Tech Solutions is described as a multinational technology enterprise focusing on distributed cloud systems, enterprise hosting, system integration, and managed communication infrastructure. The company handles important services such as live financial transactions, protected data tables, client database logs, and communication networks that operate continuously. Because of this high dependency on information systems, the organization needs a structured cyber audit to protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The audit also supports regulatory expectations such as PDPA, GDPR, and CCPA compliance.
For the audit scope, we assessed 5 main areas. First, hardware assets, such as corporate laptops, desktops, servers, storage, firewall, router, and wireless access points. Second, software assets, such as Windows, Apache, OpenSSL, Node.js, Java, FortiOS, EdgeOS, CrowdStrike EDR, and Cisco AnyConnect. Third, network infrastructure, such as the NGFW, Edge router, switches, wireless APs, and VPN gateway. Fourth, data assets such as customer personal information, corporate ledger data, source code, credentials, and audit logs. Lastly, we included physical security controls for server rooms and equipment. The audit uses 2 main references. ISO/IEC 2705 guides the risk management process, including context establishment, risk identification, risk analysis, risk evaluation, risk treatment, and acceptance. ISO/IEC 2702 provides the security control reference used to select suitable treatments. The project lifecycle covers 14 weeks. It begins with asset valuation, then vulnerability and threat profiling, then risk calculation and analysis. After that, the team performs remediation planning and control selection, and finally prepares governance reporting and sign-off. The risk score is calculated using likelihood multiplied by impact. Likelihood ranges from rare to almost certain, while impact ranges from insignificant to severe. A score from 16 to 25 is considered critical and must be treated urgently within 1 month. A score from 10 to 15 is high and should be treated within 3 to 6 months. The audit also considers important assumptions, including public DMZ exposure, no mandatory MFA for VPN, 30-day patch windows, 8x5 MSSP monitoring, and a 24-hour backup cycle. These assumptions increase the urgency of several risks. In risk identification, the audit team mapped threats and vulnerabilities across hardware, software, data, and network assets. The most important weaknesses include no MFA on the VPN gateway, unpatched endpoints, local administrator rights on laptops, outdated Apache and OpenSSL components, weak service account management, firewall misconfiguration, delayed FortiOS updates, and weak access control around customer PII and authentication credentials. These findings are important because they directly affect remote access, perimeter security, sensitive data protection, and business availability. After identification, each risk was analyzed using the risk matrix. The highest scores are Cisco AnyConnect VPN exploitation and authentication credential theft, both scoring 20 and classified as critical. Corporate laptop phishing and malware, Windows 11 zero-day exposure, and Windows 10 ransomware risk score 16 and are also critical. Several high risks score 15, including storage NAS data exfiltration, customer PII exposure, firewall misconfiguration, web server DDoS, and 40OS compromise. These results show that identity, endpoint, and perimeter controls are the top priorities. The priority treatment list focuses first on the risks that can create the largest business impact. The top 2 risks are password-only VPN access and authentication credential theft. The recommended actions are enforcing MFA, disabling password-only login, restricting unmanaged devices, rotating credentials, and implementing secure credential vaulting. The next priorities are phishing and malware on laptops, endpoint zero-day exposure, and Windows 10 ransomware risk. These must be handled quickly, because they can lead to unauthorized access, lateral movement, ransomware, service disruption, and regulatory exposure.
The treatment strategy mainly uses risk reduction. This means applying controls such as MFA, endpoint patching, EDR protection, least privilege access, firewall hardening, encryption, DLP, vulnerability scanning, and better monitoring. Risk transfer is used where third-party support is suitable, such as cyber insurance, cloud DDoS protection, and MSSP monitoring. Risk avoidance is used when unsafe practices can be removed, such as disabling password-only VPN, closing unnecessary ports, and removing unsupported systems. Risk acceptance is only allowed after treatment reduces the remaining risk to medium or low. After selecting treatment actions, the report maps them to ISO/IEC 27002 controls. Important controls include secure authentication for MFA and passwordless login, authentication information for password rotation and vaulting, protection against malware through EDR, technical vulnerability management for patching, network security for firewall and routing controls, configuration management for secure baselines, data leakage prevention for DLP, and monitoring activities for SIEM and MSSP visibility. This mapping helps prove that each treatment action is linked to a recognized control objective. After treatment, the remaining residual risks are documented for management acceptance. The report records 31 accepted residual risks. 15 are medium and require periodic review and monitoring, while 16 are low and require routine verification. No high or critical residual risks are accepted. The monitoring plan includes quarterly phishing simulations, weekly endpoint compliance reviews, daily VPN access log reviews, quarterly vulnerability scans, quarterly firewall rule audits, monthly backup restore testing, monthly DLP review.
In conclusion, the audit shows that Nexus Global Tech faces the greatest risk from password-only remote access, credential theft, endpoint malware, ransomware, customer PII exposure, and perimeter weaknesses. The recommended approach is to enforce MFA immediately, strengthen endpoint and patch management, improve firewall and router controls, protect sensitive data with encryption and DLP, and maintain continuous monitoring. With ISO 27005 guiding the risk process and ISO 27002 supporting control selection, the organization can reduce unacceptable risks and support formal executive risk acceptance.